Hello everyone, glad to have you back. Quick info before I begin. This is more of a hey this exists type of video instead of my usual videos, because there isn't much information out there, but I still think it's interesting enough to warrant an entire video. Before I get into the main topic of this video, I want to quickly mention that I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong or when I make a mistake. Over the course of the last 1.5 years, I've made a few mistakes here and there, from small errors because I didn't research well enough, to me missing many details like in that video, which will get a new version in the future with better research and hopefully no mistakes this time. What I want to focus on today is not exactly a mistake, but something I simply forgot because, well, I didn't even really know about it until a few weeks ago. I talked about many things in the F-Zero merchandise video, even some obscure stuff, but this one thing slipped through the cracks. I thought I found very obscure stuff, but this is just that obscure and rare. Even on the F-Zero subreddit there are almost no mentions of it. What I'm talking about is the 1992 novel F-Zero and Then to the Gods of Speed. That name is a rough translation of this, which I am unable to read. Thankfully, a full scan of the entire novel exists online, but no translation. There apparently have been attempts, but nothing has come out of them. Maybe this video could help with that, but I doubt that. I am simply too small on here. Anyway, let's look at all the illustrations, because we don't need to translate those. Let's first look at the cover art. Well, that doesn't really scream F-Zero to me, but you gotta consider it was 1992. The only reference they had was this. X was still 6 years away. If you just take the cover and look at the F-Zero comic, I'd say it's similar enough. Of course, the art style is very different, but the general vibe seems to be on the same level. But who is this character? Good question. I don't know either. The F-Zero Facts wiki says it could be Swan Lee, the novel's protagonist, but who knows for sure. I'm not gonna go and try to figure that one out, but it's not even clear if this character is male or female. It's very ambiguous. What I want to focus on though is the helmet. Look at this golden symbol. Looks familiar, doesn't it? It has at least some resemblance to Captain Falcon's helmet, so this character could possibly be a successor, a different interpretation of the character, or even a copycat. Could be anything. Not at the machine in the background, it certainly is original, although it is very similar to the original Blue Falcon design. Now let's take a look inside. We're first greeted with this beautiful 2-page illustration. And yeah, this is F-Zero, a racetrack, futuristic looking stuff, and a giant city in the background. I think this is most likely Mute City or Port Town, but I'm leaning more towards Mute City, since whenever I hear Port Town I think of stuff like this and not this. It could also be an original location. Maybe there's some info up there, but as I said, I can't read that. Just so you know, I will be skipping over all of the texts and illustrations that seem uninteresting without context, but if you want to see everything, I've included a link to the F-Zero Facts wiki in the description, which also provides an option to read the entire thing. The novel has 6 chapters. Team Sprem, which I read very wrong, since mentally I am still a child who thinks that's funny. Probably the team name. There are racing teams in F-Zero, sometimes at least. Monday Tournament, which explains itself. Blue Falcon, this one sounds interesting, what a shame I can't read it though. Glade, gonna be honest here, that tells me absolutely nothing. Maybe they meant Glide, I have no clue. Maybe it's even a character called Glade, I have no idea. Deathwind, there's probably something happening on Deathwind. And Goalgate, since that's the last chapter, it's the finale of the story. In the first chapter, we see this, an inside view of an F-Zero machine during a race. It seems as if it's the same machine we saw on the cover. As I mentioned already, it doesn't look too different from the machines in the games. We also see the rear of another machine, which is also original to the novel. I kinda like it. The overall shape and the spoiler kinda remind me of the Sonic Phantom, especially its cheapy legend version. Once again, there is a city in the background. Looks nice with this Ferris wheel-like structure. In the Monday Tournament chapter, we get another view of a race between 2 machines. It kinda looks like they're sliding in a corner here. Design-wise, this machine is obviously inspired by the SNES Blue Falcon. Maybe it even is the Blue Falcon. The other machine could be the one we saw before. We don't see the rear, so I don't know for sure. The sharper edges on the sides are similar, so that's what I think at least. Overall, I think these two machines would fit in F-Zero without major changes. I like them. The Blue Falcon chapter gives us this: a mysterious old man and his butler. Because this chapter is called Blue Falcon, I'd like to think that this may be Captain Falcon, now old and retired. This thing looks like some sort of trophy, for me at least. That would fit my idea of this character being a successor, but there's something else later in the novel that could possibly contradict that, but I'm just interpreting here. If you know more or can even read this, let me know. I'm very curious. Later we get what I think is a nice illustration of Deathwind. There isn't much I can say. It's pretty much what I expected Deathwind would look like. All wavy and windswept. It's Deathwind after all. I sadly can't figure out what happened here. It looks like a crash, maybe the pilot gave up. I have no idea. The last chapter has what I think may be the most interesting picture of them all. I want to focus on those two. The first thing I thought was Dr. Stewart and Pico. The similarities are definitely there, especially with Pico. Not only the same alien, but also the same kind of armor. Could be a coincidence, maybe not. And that's what I meant with contradicting before. Is this a flashback? Does this happen around the same time as the novel? If yes, and if they are Dr. Stewart and Pico, this old man cannot be Captain Falcon, but what do I know? And well, that's pretty much everything I could tell you about the novel. There are just a few more pages of text after that, and then it's over. I said a lot already, but I really wish I could read it. I'm so interested to know what happens in this version of F-Zero. Obviously, it isn't canon. It's so obscure and relatively unknown, and since there is no translation, most of us probably don't even know what's going on. But that doesn't stop me from looking at it and interpreting what I see and having a stupid little idea with this video. I hope you found this interesting. Maybe you were like me and didn't know this existed. It's always fun looking for obscure, weird stuff from the games I love. Anyway, I will see you all next month. Until then, have a good one.